Ba-ba-ba. Hello, YouTube. Gonna be a second. There we go. And there I am. Well, this is a different kind of stream than usual. It's not just a game. I honestly only have this up because just me, doing talking. I myself need something brain dead that I can go ahead and have on as my own thing, but also feel like it'd be nice for everyone else to be able to see me working on something other than just looking at the camera myself. But yeah, this will go ahead and be a stream that's going to be me talking about, well, life growing up autistic, as well as talk about autism in general, and get some. Oh, if there's any questions brought up about autism, I can go ahead and try to answer that to my best of my ability. I am not an expert. I'm not trained on this stuff. I'm just someone who's lived as an autistic person, so I can only really offer my own perspective. Putting into chat a place that I just found today that's a good resource, very quick read to try to understand autism. It's a lot of it's geared for people that are autistic or are wondering if they are, but there's still plenty of material in there for people who want to be more supportive and learn more about autism. Also, a reminder that typing in exclamation mark charity will bring a link over to the. That's not how you spell charity. It'll bring a link to the small fundraiser I'm trying to do that will help out Autism's self-advocacy network, which is one of the charities, after doing some research I saw, is actually good, and it's founded by and led by autistic people, and it's all about advocacy for other autistic people as well. I'm also going to go ahead and give the warning that, by all means, I'm not. Hold on, I need to get into the other tab too for what I'm going to be drawing. My own experience as an autistic person will not match with everyone. It is a spectrum. I'll go ahead and lead off with this. And that's not like to say that anyone is more or less autistic, like some people think of it, but more that it's different experiences, different things that people can go with it. Like some autistic people are non-speaking in order to communicate with people. They need some, well, not necessarily always need, but feel more comfortable as well using well, just writing things down or sending things over text or DMs and the like. But not all people with, not all autistic people are like that. And you might hear me also go ahead and have. Okay, what is this? Orange wool. Have some issues that myself, try to correct myself because it's admittedly a pretty recent thing for me as well to learn, but the it's no longer seen as about someone with seeing autistic people as with autism, because it's more of a identity first kind of scenario now, because I just drew an L myself. Great. Did I mean for that? Identity first, because saying that you're with autism makes it feel more like the older kind of view of it, where it's people who think it's a disease or some other thing that needs to be cured. It's not. It is a developmental disability, so people are born with it, and they're autistic the rest of their life. I'm autistic my whole life. There's nothing wrong about that. There's no. I and other autistic people won't need to be cured. Don't want to be cured because there's nothing to cure. It's, I don't know. Just trying to think of this. It's not quite a quirk. It's just we're humans in our own way, just like everyone else. Alright, how far up does this need to go? God damn it. I wish this, tool thing was a little easier. 1, 2, 3... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 for the first row. Okay. Anywho, yeah, I guess when I go ahead and discuss, growing up autistic myself, I can go ahead and, like, start off with, like... Ah, damn it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, my diagnosis, which, uh... like a lot of people with autism, a lot of autistic people, I was misdiagnosed with ADHD when I was a little kid. It was a weird thing because the counselor I saw that gave me the diagnosis only really talked with my parents. Never, and like the only bit of conversation with me was having me in the room, and I'm a kid who sees the room have a Sega Genesis with Rayman on it, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to be part of this. I could just focus on the game. Fucking see y'all. I'll just look at this and never answer unless I'm pretty much shaken and told to answer something, which never happened. Yeah, from that the guy was like, "Oh, must be ADHD if you couldn't pay attention." Pay attention to what? You never asked me anything. There's nothing for me to care about, as far as I knew, other than Rayman. Yeah, I was put on Ritalin, and I went from being known in my family as like a very uh, shy, quiet, almost nonverbal kind of kid to all of a sudden riddled with anxiety and ready to snap at any moment. Because, hey, something I just found out. Oh, because I wasn't on AD, I didn't have ADHD. I never it was a misdiagnosis, as you can tell. Yeah, and apparently, people with autistic people, it's a very common thing to just have horrible reactions to Ritalin, any psychoactives of the like too. So instead of having something that calmed me down or like made me more compliant or whatever, I just wanted to. I had the completely opposite reaction that people were supposed to get, and that really fucked with me as a kid. Remember, like oh boy. That's December. Yeah, it was my kindergarten year too, by the way. I was just in school. I got in there. I didn't really learn much from preschool. It wasn't like necessarily. I don't think it was any teachers' issues or anything. Anyone did anything wrong necessarily, especially since I just seemed like a shy kid who liked to be by themselves. But yeah, reading was very hard for me. Numbers and letters were all just weird symbols to me for my first couple of years, and like any oh, through kindergarten and first grade. Hey there, Brian. How you doing? Hope you're having a good day. So yeah, I went into my kindergarten, started that school year off, uh, asking where my room was because I couldn't understand the a room number I was given. Went into the wrong one, thinking I was in the right one because I also interpreted the instructions I was given wrong. And hey, uh, already having a weird start to things, being the kid who who had to come in late because they accidentally went into like the third grader's room when they were kindergartner. Yeah, things didn't get any better, and like lunch when I actually had to go ahead and head to the school office to take the Ritalin that I was prescribed at the time. Because pretty much as soon as I got out, I like a little bit after taking that medication, everything worked in my system. Like I said, Ritalin doesn't actually work the way it generally does in autistic people, as it does most other people. That was not great. That was not great. Oh boy, I quickly became filled with anxiety and just kind of like snap very easily at a kid. Yeah. But yeah, it's just kind of like being a thing like that. I would frequently get in trouble because of those things going on. I was a kindergartner who was getting a lot of suspensions and detentions over this stuff, and like no one knew why I was acting that way. It was such a weird mystery. How could that happen? Uh, Around this before December, my parents decided to go ahead and have me visit another counselor to determine that if they could figure out what was going on. And it was there that they were like, no, no, your kid doesn't have ADHD. No, this is autism. I was immediately taken off Ritalin, and just in time to worry about Christmas and Santa, I became once again, a very quiet and reserved kid who tried to avoid trouble at all times. I remember being a little kid and crying, hoping that I got good in time for Santa to be happy with me. Yeah, that was a moment, all right. No, I think. Okay, I'm trying to make some symbol. By the way, it'll be more clear as it goes on. But yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, a mix of some other stuff that was to come, and just like general like the how I was already getting known as because of how things started off for me. Hey, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I was the weird kid, which, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to understand why I ended up being the weird kid. Uh, I was trying to get along with people, get along with other kids, but coming out already being the weird kid that always got in fights, and now also having issues trying to understand how social stuff works at all. Oh, fuck. Good thing I'm creative. Social stuff works at all. I was trying to learn on the fly how to actually do anything. Hmm. And, yeah, this is another thing that's actually apparently pretty similar that goes on with autistic children is that whole scenario, too. Oh, I just realized the game capture's a little weird. Let me move it down. No, I didn't want to get... There we go, let's move the game down. No, not the overlay. Can I... The game capture, OBS. I want to move the game capture down a bit. Boy. Alright, there we go. There's a little edge on top and bottom, whatever. But yeah, autistic children will frequently do this thing I did, where it's hard to understand how to get into any social groups, so the thing to do is just look at what everyone else is doing and try to copy that. Little child me did not understand that's actually a bad idea. To try to be overly friendly with people. Act like you're able to fit in all of a sudden, like do the same inside jokes or just kind of like pal around, try to get close to people like that. No, that's actually a turnoff, a very weird thing for a lot of people. Child me did not understand. Yeah, that's just maybe even more of a weird kid. I have no idea how I'm gonna be going. I'm gonna have to cut this off. Boy. Yeah, so there was that old thing. I... Uh... Hold on. Let me look at this. Okay. Okay, 13 out. 1, 2, 5, 6, 10. Alright, let's get the red concrete now. Anyways, oh. It was a thing where you were acting as if you were ready. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, being a little kid, not really understanding all that stuff. All the expected norms, all the unspoken rules, the socialization, and all this stuff. But wanting so desperately to still be friends with people. Man. Oh, damn it, I'm trying to count up now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 25 up. Okay, so it has to be 25 up at the end here. Am I underneath it? Okay, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14. 5. Damn, I was really underestimating how far up I needed to be on this. Okay, oh, would it be the point where you were... Oh, yeah, no, I did that too, but it was also just like, being rude to people, thinking I was, just being good friends. Because it's like, oh yeah, all these barbs and things people were saying. Some of the stuff would also just honestly be very rude stuff. And I didn't know was rude at the time. But, yeah. Yeah, that's, more of the, ooh, should not have said some of that stuff. Some of those were just mean-spirited jokes, and I didn't understand were mean-spirited. Let's see now, but, yeah, so you had me kind of like, being this kid now that... Ah, fuck, I messed this up somewhere. I messed this up somewhere for sure. Damn it, I knew I should have gone by the edges instead. Okay, 25 up, 25 up. Let's get some dirt to differentiate. Anywho, where was I? Ah, fuck! How do you stay up? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 40. Yeah, that one's gonna probably be destroyed soon enough. Okay. Trial and error observation, try and figure out... Oh, yeah. Yeah, it ended up being a lot of that. Now, I do consider myself lucky in that there were other kids that were genuinely they're genuinely helpful and nice and like, okay, they're weird, but hey, you know what? Try to make friends with them anyways. They seem like they're just trying. Why not? Oh boy. Yeah, that's gonna be... So I did actually get some people that I was at least kind of friends with. Most of the people I hung out with in the end when I was a kid were other kids in my neighborhood at the time. Since like there were a bunch of us, we all kind of like got along because of approximation as well as everyone kind of like having a different game console, so we played a bit like with that, which was actually very nice. That did help me out a lot, but yeah, that didn't really stick around too long. Eventually I had to find my own way to try to make friends. As, like, some people moved away, things got separated over years, but yeah, throughout elementary school at least, I had all those people to hang out with, and my parents tried to get me into sports, too, to see if that would help. Uh, oh, this will be something to talk about later. Poor motor controls and a mind that does not work at this, that works faster, oh, that works at a different speed than my body does. Oh, that did not work growing up, especially with all the weirdness and awkwardness that comes with teenage years, too. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's 2 up now. But yeah. But back in school, kind of like talking about that, uh, my parents, don't know if they let any faculty know about, like, the new diagnosis or anything, because there certainly wasn't anything out there at the time for me, that helped me or any other autistic kids out. I mean, there were definitely no accommodations for ADHD or anything. I mean, fuck. When I was a kid growing up, people were talking about ADHD as a thing that was for sure just a troublemaker's thing. Yeah, only troublemakers have it, and if they're not a troublemaker now, they're gonna be a troublemaker in the future. That kind of dumb bullshit. Yeah, I have no idea how often that's seen nowadays, at least. But yeah, I remember, like, the principal I had also just kind of, like, being an asshole, which didn't really help out. I mean, let's see now. One time after, I remember, like, getting... Oh, ADHD. Yeah, I'm glad it's been more normalized as well. Okay, I remember, like, one time, first or second grade, yeah, I think it was second grade, I got suspended from school after having a meltdown caused by a sensory overload. That's another thing to talk about pretty soon, too. You do not know how scary a sensory overload is until you go through one. But yeah, kind of like having one of those things down, and I got punished for acting out in class, which caused me a suspension because it was the final straw that week. And I then while I was suspended and at home, got I was okay. I was pretty chill. I was in a safe spot, nothing going on. Came back to school and was immediately pulled into the office to be suspended for getting into a fight the day before, which was a physically impossible thing to do because I was already at home suspended. I don't know why I was being punished. Yeah, the principal also didn't like me because whenever I would be called into the office, I would always never actually be paying attention to her or anything she's saying. It wasn't me trying to be disrespectful or an asshole. It was generally, I just couldn't focus. It was conversations I was not allowed to partake in or say anything about. And I, the only ones talking were the adults. I was just kind of there to be talked to, so I'd go ahead and, like, think about and focus on things that I felt I could be more of a part of or that were more interesting to me, which is not too uncommon of a thing for autistic people either, apparently. Which is one of the things where people can get that in ADHD confused. Yeah, although with ADHD people, I think I heard about how, like, it's also kind of, like, more like... Also not like they're trying to lose focus all the time. It also is just only being able to focus on the things that are interesting to them. But yeah, lack of eye contact, just kind of like looking off to space with my own thoughts. My first principal hated me for that. I was very rude and not handling authority well at all. Eventually well, the school says, schools was like, oh yeah, she just moved on for a better opportunity. I think she got fired because a lot of parents also had, she was just an asshole to every student, and the parents had enough. The new principal came along, and they were actually very nice and more accommodating for things. Third grade too, I was put into a, well, I was put into the gifted class, which I mean, I don't exactly feel good about calling those kind of classes gifted classes. At the time, I thought, oh, hey, cool. Is this a good thing? This is neat. But yeah, my teacher there was really nice. I still like know her and talk to her every now and then. She was a very nice person. She and her assistant teacher, yeah, gifted, yeah, those classes. Yeah, she and her assistant teacher were people who've like worked with autistic children before, as well as children with other developmental disabilities and disabilities in general. And like she kind of like oh fuck, this is the wrong block. Anyways, she introduced like whenever I would have like a sensory overload or anything like that going on, go ahead and let me go ahead and just say I'm having one of those issues, and I'd be allowed to go and wander out through the halls until I got better. Uh, at first, I thought that whole thing was a punishment of some sort, and I was like worried about talking about that. But eventually, it was like, oh no, this is actually very nice. It's very helpful for me. Instead of like having one of these panic attacks, one of these huge bouts of anxiety that make it hard to breathe, go ahead, just wander, go see the fountain, and kind of like chill out until I feel better. It was so helpful. I was, yeah. All right, how far across do these go? 1, 2, 10. And boy. Not to steal the Thunder Wave, but you. Oh, okay. But yeah, well, something I would also find out about later, though. Apparently, whenever some parents found out that I was autistic, or that I'm autistic back then, they decided to go ahead and after children pulled from my the same class, had them removed from the gifted class and put into the normal one, because them, including a teacher I would eventually have in high school, thought I was diseased, and they were afraid that their children would somehow catch autism. Again, a reminder, autism is not a disease. It is not something you can just catch. It is, as far as any research says, entirely genetic. Oh, then I mean to destroy. Yeah, I also had an art teacher that, after finding out about the autism diagnosis, during a parent teachers conference meeting, told my mom how sorry she felt for me for being diseased and hoped that I could get better someday. And my mom talked about how she just pretty much went in and like just tore that teacher apart for daring to be such an asshole for saying something like that. Okay, and how much further after we get to 8. 1, 2. 4. Oh. Okay, we got a framework now. Let's see now. I'm glad things better than it was then. Oh! Yeah, there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done still. Yeah, things are better, but they're not great, you know? Oh yeah, and like I, I'm always happy to see like when parents are supportive of their autistic children instead of like worrying about being like, oh, I'm worried about their future. Can they ever live a normal life? Or oh, is there a way to cure them or get them to feel better, be treated better, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Uh, it's just okay. This is gonna be the rant I had on Twitter earlier this morning. I I love I love these videos of parents being like, "Hey, look at this thing my kid does. I'm I know they have the special interest that they're focused on, and I'm going to support them through it. It's a cool thing. It's a great thing. I love that. I fucking hate when people go into comments, "Oh, see, autism's not a disability. It's a superpower." Cause it is a disability. There's nothing wrong with that. The whole thing too, like trying to, it feels like I said in a tweet. I feel like saying that also just makes it feel like people are only seen as, oh, autistic people are only seen as valid if they can provide entertainment, like a sideshow attraction, or if they can do this one cool thing, or if they happen to turn out to be a super genius like Mozart or Einstein. Hey, hey, uh, most autistic people are just trying to live day to day, trying to, just be themselves. And I never understood that thing. It feels as weird and icky as when people bring up those things for like someone standing up from the wheelchair to be like motivational. It's like, I mean, they're still a valid human being. If they're not able to do that, there's nothing weird or wrong with being disabled. The weird and wrong thing is when you try to treat it like a thing that needs to be fixed or cured. Just be respectful of people. Treat them as other humans that deserve to be treated with respect. Okay. 16 up here. Okay, okay. 1, 2, 3. Uh, yeah, that I don't remember everything I said in that, but I didn't count here. Fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16. Okay. Boy. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it that I can remember from all that I was saying in that one thread. So I'll just move on to another thing. Back to the sensory overload stuff, since I did hint about that being a thing. Uh, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people who are autistic have like experience sensory like stimuluses different. Sometimes to a heightened degree, sometimes to a lesser degree, but a very common thing is sensory overload. Now, to try to get an understanding of how this feels for anyone who hasn't gone through this before, imagine if all of a sudden, I'm sorry for spitting there, all of a sudden, you feel like you could see all the microorganisms crawling across your eyes, every mote of dust trailing across the air, shining through all the beam lights, which have grown so much brighter than they seemed before. The sounds of everyone's breath is in your ear. The wind brushing against the building is a typhoon. All the drops of sweat, every ounce of perfume, all these smells feel like they're right next to you and being shoved up your nose. You can taste every bit of dried saliva along your mouth, every weird thing going through the air. Uh, for just all this stuff, all your major senses, all of your other senses, like your minor ones too, just heightened up all at once. You can't control it. You don't really understand what's going on. It's fucking freaky. It is scary. You feel like you're being choked by the world around you. Some autistic people go into a shutdown where they just stop and don't do anything. I've only gone through that a couple of times when I was a little kid myself, so I can't speak too much into that, but I was more frequent for the meltdowns. Uh, yeah, those were not great. By the way, autistic people going through a meltdown is where that autistic screech meme comes from, and it is sick and disgusting for that to be a thing to be made fun of. It is fucking frightening. It is a fucking frightening experience to be going through one of those meltdowns. Oh yeah, calling autism superpower also puts down autistic people who aren't making the most of the situation. Isn't the best way of saying that, but yeah, most people with autism, most autistic people aren't gonna have like those amazing things. Not everyone's gonna be able to go understand what the 12th no sorry what the 100th number of pi is. Not everyone's going to be able to go through 1,000 numbers down the Fibonacci sequence or memorize each weekday of the calendar from the last 2,000 years, or recall the favorite food of every president, or any of these other things. I mean, special interests do exist. I have had quite a few when I was growing up myself. But, like, those aren't the hyper-focused stuff that feels like it's portrayed a lot, either. No, it's okay, Brian, I understand. Yeah, special focuses, special interests can be very infrequent, and it's kind of like oh, this seems neat in the moment. Or could be like a thing that lasts years. It's different between every person. It's not universal at all. Listen, I, for the life of me, could not. If someone spilled a bunch of matchsticks on the ground, I just make as much of a good guess as anyone else. I'm not gonna be Rain Man in that situation. And I wish people would stop using Rain Man as an example of what the average autistic person's like as well. That's a different tirade. Oh. Ah, boy. But going back into, like, growing up. Yeah. Growing up, like I said, elementary school still was not amazing for me. I still had a lot of issues. I would still get into problems with people because I was still not great at understanding how socializing works at all. Things were still weird for me. It was just a weird mess, but hey, middle school was kind of better. Well, 6th grade was still awful. 6th grade, I went from being in a classroom that was accommodating for me with a teacher that knew I understood what I was going through and actually cared, to uh, back in an area where there were a lot of kids that decided to go ahead and take the easy mark because, hey, look at this weird kid. They're still a weirdo, aren't they? Ha ha ha! Got into trouble some more again. Felt like I was... Yeah, that wasn't a good time. That just wasn't a good time, I'll say. Hold on, let me build this up so I know where to cut off. But, oh, yeah, also 6th grade went, the principal in charge of, my grade, guess who they were? It was the same principal I had my first couple of years in elementary school. Oh, boy. Again, not fun. That wasn't good. They read up on autism, so they were better about things. They still didn't understand it nearly as much as they thought they did. Okay, and let's go with 16 down as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16. Here we go. Here we go. We're getting. Oh, this is actually gonna. This whole build's gonna take longer than I thought. I thought I downsized it to a nice amount. Okay, back into things though. Let's now. Then I went into another middle school sometime later. Oh, I forgot. Before going into that first middle school too, my parents almost got me into a private school that was a specialty for handling autistic children, and I declined because I didn't like that I'd have to be in a uniform. And I valued my freedom of choice, even though I essentially wore a uniform because I just liked the textures that were familiar to me. Ah, fell down again. So, and like the textures and the stuff I saw that was familiar to me, the stuff that I thought was cool. Even though it was, really think about back then, but yeah. Oh, comfort matters. You don't understand. Well, sorry, I'm not gonna say you don't understand. It's a little different for autism. It's. Mm, I refuse to eat No, I know waffles and pancakes are the same batter. A lot of people know that, but everyone can still have their preference of uh, waffles over pancakes. Imagine, imagine a heightened version of that when it comes to what you find to be your comfort. Because remember back to the whole sensory thing. If something was itchy, it was super itchy. Oh, for me, this is how it was for me. And like, I don't know, it's just a weird. No, I don't want to say weird. Damn it. Yeah, it was just something. It was. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't want to go because of that, and I have no idea. I cannot remember what the name of that place was, and I don't know if I dodged a bullet or not because every time I read up on what some place like that was at the time, it's like, oh, the whole thing was trying to treat autism like a disease to be cured still. A lot of people still don't really care as much as they portrayed. And my heart still breaks, like, whenever I read a story talk about, like, kids who are outright just treated like shit by teachers that were supposed to be helping them. I remember, like, a few years ago, like, seeing the thing where, like, some teachers were, like, bullying and belittling their autistic children that they were in charge of. Does that match? And well, they quickly got fired when, like, the video came out. Because, for some reason, those teachers thought that the autistic children would never think to use a phone to record everything. No, why? No, apparently technology is too much. I don't know, that was... I'm glad they got fired. Fuck those assholes. Okay, but I guess back into my experiences. As you know, there was middle school then? Why am I saying that as a question mark? Yeah, I then, like, had, like, all my other times in middle school, where I kind of, like, got to understand myself better, I guess you can say. I didn't know about my diagnosis of, and that I was not told I was autistic until I was in 8th yeah, 8th grade. So I still just had no idea what was different about me. I was still socially awkward. Growing up as a kid, too, I was loud because I didn't know how to control my volume. I was always either loud or I was softly mumbling everything. I tripped on myself because I had poor motor controls and just had some other weird awkwardness that made me an easy target for making fun of and stuff. Oh boy. I want to clarify some things too. I don't want to be seen as a victim of any kind. I'm just saying this to kind of like get an understanding of how it was to grow up without a proper system to support for a lot of my school years, as well as kind of like some of the things I understand about how I was growing up for myself personally, not concrete. Or do I want concrete? I want concrete. And then wool. I think learning about autism, it would not have changed anything else. Because, hey, when I did find out about the diagnosis, uh, I was honestly a bit of prick about it. Because I thought that made me special because you just told a middle schooler that there's something unique and different about them. That's not gonna go well. And in fact, in middle school, it's a horrible thing to be unique and different. As much as every middle schooler, every teenager talks about wanting to be unique, wanting to be their own person, have their own brand. Come on now. We're adults. We understand that's a lot of bullshit. People who are actually different and unique in their teenage years are ostracized. They are pushed away. They are freaks who are to be shunned forever. Yep, Brian. Yeah, so, uh, telling kids that, uh, I was autistic and, like, being like, ha! So, also being like, thinking that meant that if people were to continue bullying me, then they would get into trouble. It's just seen as a challenge. Oh, up his base. Yeah, no, that was, oh, God. Yeah, that didn't really make anything better for me. And if I was never told that, oh, and if I was told later, I don't know if anything would have really been different either. I don't know, it's just something I had to go through. Oh, then I have to. It's something I went through, is all. Yeah, so now, yeah, but 7th and 8th grade weren't too different for me. There were still kids that were genuinely trying to be nice. Like, there were always kids out there who, what I don't know now was them thinking of made them look better because they were, some of them were popular kids, or like how many of them were actually being genuine about it. But yeah, there were still kids out there genuinely trying to reach out and be friendly. I just didn't always catch that. Sometimes there were people that I thought were being friendly that were actually bullying me, without me understanding that, which sucked. Uh, but yeah, like, there weren't really too many issues that I can remember from middle school, other than someone shooting me with an airsoft gun in the neck during recess, but that had nothing to do with that. That wasn't about autism. That was just a kid who obviously got expelled, and probably would have gone through worse if they did that in today's climate. But yeah, that's now in. man, not too much different happening then. I swear I can go into more depth about things as I'm asked, and after I kind of like open up that resource book, I put it to chat and kind of like go over some more stuff. Like, oh yeah, yeah, this is stuff I remember very well. Oh fuck. Let's see now. Some other stuff to talk about. Oh, what are you doing here? Yeah, in high school, it was a very weird thing for me because I remember like going from a kid who was still kind of like on edge and stuff, still not really understanding anything, to actually being a pretty chill high schooler to start things off with. Like, I minded my own business. I just tried to do my own thing, kind of like never try to bother anyone, and no one really tried to bother me. It was actually really nice. It was really nice. And then, like, I finally got, like, I looked this up, and this is something that's still really only given for kids that are, like, oh, this is supposed to be, I think this is supposed to be for kids who are 6th grade and up. I don't remember if it's that or if they're 16 years and up. But put into an IEP, which I believe stands for Individualized Education Plan, where they kind of like look at the needs of different students with disabilities and try to accommodate things for them. For me, that was like letting me go into an isolated classroom where I could go on computers if I wanted to, or like do my own homework at my own pace, which was very nice. I really enjoyed being given that opportunity. I only had that for a couple years though before they decided I was. Holy shit! Thank you, Mark, for the $60. Hell yeah! Now we have to step away now. Oh, that's okay. And hold on. Let's see what. Oh, Mystery Jelly Bean and some support for the Pokemon Fire Red Randalock. Hey, let me get the jelly beans out right now before you have to head out. Oh boy, I've had these since the just kind of like sitting around since the stream extravaganza a few months ago. Luckily, these things will never expire. They will forever haunt the earth. Oh god, I think I picked up vomit flavor. This is definitely going to be vomit flavor. Hmm. Good RNG, actually. That was peach. I was worried at first, but hey, $60, we got to the $100. We got to the $100 goal thing. Hey, I need to quickly change something up now, too, because that just got the $100 milestone where I'm gonna dye my hair. Hey, we got VR horror stream and dye my hair. Thank you very much, Marv. I'm gonna move the goal up even further now as well and unlock the poll that is for which color to have my hair dyed. You do not need to. I'm gonna have to remember how I did that, but yeah, see you, Marv. See you some other time. Hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you again for the support. Oh boy, and yeah, let's push up. Okay, just by 50 off the. No, not 1,000. Okay, yeah, we're making it go $150 now. Fuck yeah. So, yeah, I've only had, like, that IEP, for a couple years before I was decided to be, they decided I was too high functioning for it to mean anything for me anymore, which meant that I fit well into society and had no more issues to worry about. The high functioning and low functioning stuff is actually not good to go by anymore. It's more support needs. How many support needs you need? Do you need a high amount of support or do you need a low amount of support? I'm luckily, not luckily. No, that's the wrong word. I am someone who doesn't need as much support as some other people might. Oh fuck. I don't have. Okay, like how some autistic people have trouble going through the steps that are needed for cooking a recipe, or issues with communication can cause some troubles when it comes to grocery shopping or the like. Yeah, there's that old thing. How could I forget a major thing? One of the major things that happened for me growing up autistic as a kid. The whole issues being touched. I could not let anyone I was not very familiar with come even near me. I was afraid of being afraid of being like touched or hugged. Which, hey, I mean, that's smart for some. That's smart for some parts. Not always great, especially since that's another thing that would give me like a kind of freak out. I would like get afraid if like someone I didn't know well, which meant like if it wasn't close family or like really good friends, I would not let them so much as poke me. I would immediately want to run away and get out of there. It took me so long to be okay with giving handshakes. I did not give people handshakes until I was 14, 15 years old. Oh, I mean, eye contact, I still struggle with that. It's not the same as when I was a little kid. And, like, I just look the other way completely. Because, I don't know, it's just discomforting to look at a person in the eye. Now I can kind of fake that if I force myself to. I still don't like looking people in the eye. It's still weird for me. And I really hope everyone who's ever met me has been okay with me not really looking at them or looking them in the eye whenever I'd have a conversation. I am a little self-conscious about that, I'll be honest. Okay, we're about a quarter of the way done. Oh, we're an hour into the recording already. Wow, I honestly didn't know if I had an hour to talk about things. Okay, how far does this go? Hold on, I need to see how far to the right I'm gonna need to go first before I say anything else. 10. Just 10 to the right? Okay. And constantly going up. Okay, and those back in RTX 2019 to think much about. Yeah, it is. I am still pretty shy of a person. I will admit to that. I really struggle with trying to start any communication. Okay. And then we go into 3 of these, constantly going back up as well. No. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Oh, I mean, that was still okay. Alright, there we go. But, like, part of that, a lot of that is another common thing for autistic children, and, like I said before, I did genuinely try to make friends with people. Growing up, I failed a lot, and that failure without really understanding why it's a failure just makes you feel more alone. Just a constant wondering of like, what's going on? How am I messing up? Do people just not like me? Is this just my destiny? Yeah, it was, man, it's honestly like, feeling a little bit bummed out remembering about that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, all those failures just kind of like give not a trauma, but just like feeling of defeat, I guess, at least in me. Makes you wonder how you can actually not bother, how you can ever succeed at making friends. I mean, like, even like here on Twitch, I didn't truly get to know a lot of people until I took time to force myself to try to fit in with some other people. Like, here on Twitch, and I feel like I'm skipping some other stuff to try to talk about that. Yeah, let's go back into, like, after high school. Graduates, every now and then I'd have, like, trouble with some classes. A lot of stuff was pretty easy for me, especially, well, math was always meh. I didn't really care about math, it was just weird numbers. It's stuff that was no issue for me to study either. Blah, 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 all that stuff. But, science was my favorite thing. Oh, man, which, I'm gonna have to go into my special interest. I got something I can talk about, I can lead in with that later, though. Anyways, yeah, college, I wasn't a great time, I'll say. It was a weird time. I went to a technical school at first, and oh, I had to pretty much stay at home because I had a lot of issues, kind of like understanding a lot of stuff. Still, it was one of my big interests growing up was movies. Like, I've always been fascinated by them, the ways you can tell stories. I watched so much cinema with my younger brother, who is also deeply fascinated and also ended up being diagnosed with autism. Although he denies that he has it, even though it's a pretty sure thing that he does. But yeah, like, I wanted to go into school to be that. I very quickly, well, technical school, probably not exactly giving the best education on it still, but quickly I felt like I was making a mistake and just letting people down. I Not like I was doing anything wrong. Like, people in classes, whenever I do or write anything, always liked it. They always thought I was doing a good job. Felt like anything I wrote was pretty entertaining. But, yeah, there was that, and me feeling like I was never going to get a shot at it. I just was going through a real bad depressive funk at the time, too, which is an issue. I had a bit of an existential crisis, tried to join the military. Oh, yeah, my younger brother very likely is also autistic. But yeah, I actually scored really well on the test that you have to take, too, for getting into the military. I got, like, the ASVAB, it's a percentile thing, where, like, the best you could do is a 99. I scored a 97. So I was one of the 2 or 3% best scored people that took that, at least that year. And very quickly, the people who saw the test were like, yo, instead of doing this basic thing we were thinking you'd be doing because no one in this area tests that well, why not try to be a nuclear engineer technician. Eventually, let them. Oh, I had to let them know about autism. Apparently, I could have kept that a secret. I didn't know at the time. I was worried that if I didn't say anything, I'd get in trouble. But honestly, I feel like it was a good thing. I ended up not being able to go because autism is a automatic permanent disqualification for the U.S. military. I had no shot at a repeal. All I could do was accept that fact. Yeah, so there what me thinking about like any benefits from a GI Bill, free college education, and a job that would have paid really well. Honestly, what I'm getting right now. Went into another crisis, had some issues go on. College kept on getting weirder. I decided at one point, oh, to try to go to Ohio State University, but that also ended up not happening, and that really bummed me out because I was at a point where I genuinely felt like I was a freak, and because of the issues of being told I couldn't join the military because of autism, and now with this going to a place, I then went to like a place supposed to help out, not just autism but any developmental disability to see what I can get for support there, and they told me that I was too high functioning because I had a job, so I couldn't get support, which just gave me a real confusion about like, okay, am I, uh, oh yeah, pretty much halfway done now. Am I, uh, functioning just enough to not count as disabled on one side, but on the other side, I am disabled and not able to help out, which is like, what am I supposed to be? What am I? There's some weird thing when you get into that red tape and stuff. I felt even more like I was just something out of place, just a weird thing. That was not great for my self-esteem or the likes. Sorry, I feel like I'm getting bit off of talking about like what it's like growing up autistic here, but yeah, eventually things sorted out in college, and oh, here I am today. I would like to point out that never once have I felt like I've been cured or anything, because cures don't happen, and anyone looking for one is looking for the wrong thing. Okay, lime glazed terracotta. But yeah, I'm enjoying my job I've got right now. The online stuff for work is very nice because it's good to be able to have other things to focus on instead of just like try to pay attention to meetings that I cannot pay attention to for the life of me. I can go ahead and have them on, and something that doesn't take too much of my brain to focus on. Man, if I had fidget spinners when I was a kid, that would have been so nice. Because that would have honestly helped me out through so many classroom lectures and the like. Just have that thing there to be like, okay, so teacher's going on about something. It's a little boring, and there's some other stuff I can focus on instead. Ooh, fidget spinner, I'll just get this going. And this, just that simple motion will be able to get me to look right at what's going on and pay full attention. It's a weird thing. I understand a lot of people would think that having something like that would be distracting, but no, that stuff's actually super useful. I guess I might as well go ahead and talk about what it's like trying to get a career too. So my first job was probably one of the worst things that can be had for an autistic person in that it was customer service. So a person who isn't really good at handling or talking with people was all of a sudden made to talk to at least 100 people every few hours. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. I definitely came off as rude and unattentive. I did not like having to deal with people at all. It was so much nicer when I was given the opportunity to just go in the back and like handle some other thing. Lime concrete powder for a toothbrush. And so after that, after that was a warehouse job, which I enjoyed a lot more. It was frustrating because a lot of the weirdness and frankly idiocy that felt like happened every now and then. Oh. Fuck! That's not gonna stay. We're gonna have to go stick with lime concrete. No, lime wool. But yeah, like having. Here's another thing that's common for autistic people is loving and trying to stick to routines. If I can get something scheduled out and just stick to that through the whole day, I am happy. That's all I need. Just give me these couple tasks to do, the simple thing, don't interrupt my day, and I will flourish. I will do a great job. I know it feels like being a robot, but give me that mindless stuff, something I can listen to, and I'm set. Oh, if work didn't let me listen to music or podcasts while working, at the warehouse job, if they didn't let me do that, that would have been misery. That would have been misery for anyone, I imagine. Okay, 1, 2. But yeah, like, by all means as well, like that job at Subway at first for the customer service. Uh, I do think that actually did help me out in some bits and getting better with talking to people. Now, I would still have a thing where I try to have a conversation, try to get someone's order or thank them for coming, and I would just freeze up and lock up. It's not like I meant to be silent. I just kind of like look at the person, open my mouth, and then just kind of like move on because like, oh, this is awkward. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to just be silent there. I meant to say something. Oh, they think I'm weird now. Yeah, and I also got into trouble a couple times too because I came off as mouthy to some customers because like the customer you're never supposed to get in a fight with. I didn't give a crap. I understood that was a rule. I thought it was stupid. If the customer's being an asshole, why can't I go ahead and call them out on that? I mean, that's something I still feel about. Like, I've definitely been in voice chats and stuff, or just like other things, and like see people be like, get upset and irritated but not say anything, and I'd go ahead and be like, okay, you're not saying anything, but this person's also irritating me, or this thing's also irritating me, so I'll go ahead and comment it instead. I don't give two shits a lot of the time. I'm okay with that. I don't care. If anyone thinks that's wrong and weird. I mean, I'm not gonna say to people that are actually trying to be more courteous or wrong, because I acknowledge, in the long run, that what they're doing is a smarter option. I don't know. It might be some self-righteousness, sort of like, though. So, hey, don't look at that as a thing. I guess that's also supposed to be not too uncommon for autistic people as well, as just not caring about the social norms. Yeah, so, I got into a lot of stuff for growing up autistic. What else is there to say? Hmm. Special interests. I'll go ahead and talk about mine. Right now, no. Yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about that now. It can be brought up later if I forget anything now. Uh, my first one that I can recall having was dinosaurs. My brother and I loved Jurassic Park so much, we watched that film until the tape wore out. Hey, remember videotapes? Yeah, we could memorize that movie line for line. We'd go ahead and act it out as if we were all the rules at once. And that got us super into dinosaurs, which our parents were like, oh yeah, we'll support this at first, get us a library card, help take us over to museums and stuff so we can look at all the dinosaur bones. Which, by the time I was in 3rd grade, my brother was in 1st grade, we were reading college level books on stuff. It was boring because they didn't have pictures. But I was like, ooh, this is a funny dinosaur name. Look at this. It lived during this. This one lived during the Jurassic period, and eventually evolved into this dinosaur. It came from this one. This is its Latin name. These are the climates it existed in at the time. Just try to get all that information going. A bit more of a thing about dinosaurs than the typical kid, you can say. Okay, it's 12 down before the split. 2 up as well. Eight, 9, 10, 12. Yeah, here we go. There's a split there. Okay, I don't want to be famous right now, sorry, bot. So now the next thing that came up, that dinosaur thing lasted until I was in 8th grade, by the way. Boy, after that, I've always loved film and cinema. I've always been fascinated with stories. Like when I was a kid. Okay, this will be a bit of a bummer because the people that were most supportive about this part of my life are both passed away within a year of each other, just in the last couple years. But I love telling stories to family. And like I love telling that, and like some relatives I had at the time, whenever I'd visit them, they'd go ahead and like offer me like some throw pillow or something, and ask me to go ahead and make a story based off of whatever image was printed on there. And I'd go ahead, just kind of like take a couple of minutes, think to myself, and then be like, okay, I got an idea. Here's a story idea. And yeah, go ahead and tell them the story. Doesn't matter how good or bad it was, because it's just some little kid telling the story. They'd still think of it as if it's the greatest thing they ever heard. It was very nice. It was wonderful how supportive they were about the whole thing. That really helps me out in like wanting to get to stories and stuff, which is something that carried on now. Things, it's just D&D is the thing I use as the transportation for all that creativity now. Whenever I would tell a story too, it was such a great time because that would get me to talk more, be more expressive. I go from feeling like very robotic about everything, very distanced, to feeling like I was actually getting some connection with other people going. High school, I joined the teleproductions and like media class, and whenever like the camera would turn on and I'd have to act something out, I'd feel like I was trying as a different person. I'd go from mumbling and just not really being there all the time, I guess you could say, to being very, not loud, but more confident, more ready to talk and communicate. I'd be more clear about things. It was fun. It felt like I was able to be more expressive and be able to fit in with everyone else more. Yeah, I don't know how like common a thing that is for other autistic people though, so I don't want to bring that up as like a thing for everyone. Ah, man. So other special interests I had, let's see. Uh, I mean, there was a weird time where I was obsessed with the apocalypse. Oh, that was a very strange moment in my life. It wasn't like looking forward to it happening or anything. Oh, you're in a dungeon right now. That's okay. It was just like I don't know. I guess I just felt like it was an interesting story or something like that. Oh, you're not green. You're gonna be blue. But yeah, that was like I said, that was a weird moment in my life. Man, but yeah, dinosaurs in cinema were honestly the largest lasting things. Kaiju films were another thing I was pretty obsessed with for a while, which, hey, uh, judging by my Twitch username, I wonder if anyone can guess how long that's been around. Yeah, it's flamed out quite a bit since then, but oh, here we go. Yeah, I had that for a bit. Boy. Yeah, I don't really remember anything else to say, so I'll go ahead and kind of like look through that book I had. I'll go ahead and copy it into the chat again to give an idea of what I'm looking at. But yeah, try to look at that while talking about everything. That's now chapter 1. What is autism? It's a developmental disability that changes part of lives, changes how we think, understand the world, move, communicate, and socialize. Makes us different from non-autistic people, and that's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Just nothing weird, nothing abnormal. Shouldn't feel like you're abnormal for having it. Anyone who tries to make you feel as such is a giant piece of shit. Okay, got the split going now. Let's see now. Thinking differences. Yeah, they bring up this in the chapter 1 that autistic people will kind of like think about things differently than everyone else. Which I certainly do feel like that's the case sometimes. I don't know, like, I've definitely tweeted this out before, but I remember like hearing at some point an explanation about autism I was given was that would make me disconnected, I guess you can say. I don't know, it's just like uh that I would never be able to understand like what it is for other people. That's that whole. Well, I felt like it feels like it was weird, unknowing gaslighting. Now to think about it, but the idea that I could never understand sympathy or empathy, I could never understand another person's point of view of things. I mean, and then I look at things nowadays, and it's like, am I? people, it's really autistic people that are the ones that struggle with that, because it feels like a lot of people struggle with that. I don't know, but yeah, the example in the book is like how while a lot of people kind of like just look at brushing the teeth as like a simple procedure, autistic people can go ahead and like look at that as complex steps of a great variety instead. Which is, yeah. Wait, why does this want to go into lime wool? This works just as well. Huh. Hold on. Special interest, we definitely talked about this before. The examples that are talked about in the website mention like special interests can only last like a little while. These these hyperfixations, sometimes they're strong and last for years, and like someone can get specialized in that. And a lot of times it's also just like anything. It could be anything or everything. There are people who get obsessed with coins. People who get obsessed with like history and stuff. Uh, what interest it is doesn't matter if it's obscure or relatively like average or anything. They're all still valid and still something that shouldn't be made fun of. Oh man, I remember. Actually, now this just brings up another thing for growing up autistic is that whole like feeling like I can't talk about the things I like or want to talk about because I'd be shamed for it. Remember, like as a kid, wanting to go ahead and like in conversations, I'd want to be talk about this cool thing I learned about, or this fun fact about one of my special interests, and that I want to just share with everyone. I mean, that's still a thing for me. That's still something I do. Is that if I find out something cool, I want to share it. I don't like the idea of containing information just to myself, which makes me a bad liar and bad at keeping, well, bad at keeping, not bad at keeping secrets. I've definitely had, had to do that before, been asked to help out with other things. And I don't like it. I don't like it. It's part of why I try to stay away from drama and the like, is because I know I'd be expected to not bring it up with anyone else, and it's like, oh, this goes into the old like different thinking as well. It's like, man, why are y'all just being weird and why do people want to be weird and petty about some of this stuff? Just be upfront and tell people all these things, please. Trust me, it just feels like it'd be easier. It just why do people want to make their lives more complicated? I don't know. That's a rant that's not autistic related though. Okay. Executive functioning. Oh, that's the ability to stay on track with something, which I. Oh, if anyone's been in a conversation with me, they can understand how much of a problem that can be. Hey, let me tell you, I'm not trying. Oh. I don't mean to go ahead and, like, veer off of conversations and go into weird directions. Or if I'm trying to get a plan together, just kind of, like, forget each step along the way, ended up doing something else. It's just something that happens. It's a weird... It's not weird. It's... I know it can seem strange. I don't... I can make plans for myself and want to stick with them, but... It's going into a room and not just simply forgetting why you're in there, but going into that room and then just continuing to walk to another room that has nothing to do with your original purpose. That is a thing that happens for me, and is not uncommon for other autistic people at all. Meltdowns and shutdowns, I've talked about that earlier. They're not tantrums, they're not people acting out for attention. That is, those are just genuinely scary times. And people need to be understanding and respectful when that stuff comes up. It is... Oh, I don't want Windows. It's... I don't know how long I can keep on with that. Keep on talking about that. There's now some other thinking differences. They... Oh, yeah. Yeah, thinking differences and some sensory processing differences. This is another thing I can give, like, my first-hand experience about, actually. I remember, like, okay, pay a lot of... Yeah, you can pay more attention to things. Like, there's definitely been times where I would be able to notice the smallest details. I can look at someone and see, like, there's a thread loose in their shirt, and it would... Oh, it'd bother me. I wouldn't want to point it out to someone else because I felt like I would have been rude to do so. But yeah, that... Ah, man. Yeah, that was one of the things that happened. Like, there's also, like, I can remember, like, plenty of times where I'd be kind of, like, walking around a trail or something and be able to be like, oh, look, there's a snake. Oh, look, there's a rabbit. And it's be something that's one of these animals hiding in a bush or something. I don't know how I was able to notice them. It was, like, the slightest difference in the color from the area around them, as well as some small shifts of movement. I'd be able to notice that immediately. And then, I didn't know that my parents' bedroom was painted purple until I was 13 years old, because I could not notice that before. It's not that I was never actively not paying attention. I just did not process that. I could look at it over and over and over again. It just never clicked for me. For so long. Yeah, I can notice, like, some weird small details, but struggle... Oh, my foot fell asleep. Yeah, but struggle with, like, more obvious stuff. It's... I know it seems strange to say, and it's real. It is a weird... Not weird. I keep wanting to say weird thing, even though there's nothing weird about it. Oh, yeah, there's another thing brought up here is, like, autistic people have a tendency to think about things as black and white. I could definitely count myself as someone who was like that for a long period of their life. Like, it was genuine understanding the grays of things and the minutia of everything. To be able to understand the abstract was so difficult. It is already difficult enough for a lot of people to try to understand. Yeah, that was a weird thing to get my head wrapped around. Oh, which reminds me of the weirdest, one of the hardest things. Hey, this is a language issue. A lot of autistic people struggle with sarcasm. Some never understand it their whole life. I barely understood that when I was 15, and it wasn't until sometime in high school that I was able to get to a point where I could actually use it myself. And as soon as it clicked for me, boy, did I use it all the time. Yeah. I mean, smarmy teenagers, typically normal. Hey, make the person doing that also still not really understand that. So what they're saying is done very dryly. My sarcasm for a lot of time when I started understanding it was saying a lot of inane and bizarre things in a very dry way, a very matter-of-fact way. So, being a person known for being overly serious, all of a sudden trying sarcasm and with that kind of humor, just made people think I was weirder. Because it was like, wait, you actually believe this weird stuff? What the fuck? Like, no, I'm just trying to be funny. I'm just trying to fit in with jokes and humor. Oh, no, it's another mess up there. I mean, I got much better at that. I feel like anyone who's been in conversation with me can understand how much of a smartass I love to be. Alright, wow, we're already done with blue, on to purple. Okay. But yeah, it also took a long time to, like, understand, like I said, understand the grades and my minutia of everything. And, feel really good about myself in that department. Okay. Blue? That's... okay. Blue in Minecraft's weird, that it's kind of pinkish. Blue wool. Concrete powder's not gonna work. And blue concrete. Here we go. Let's see now. Autistic people learn things differently, might learn things in a different order, like learning the hard... oh, yeah. Yeah, I do feel like I have a weird way, well, a different way from learning things than others. This is a weird one to try to get around. I have to work on something with my own hands to understand. I know that's more of like kinesthetic learning or whatever, but it's such a weird thing for me. Also, I don't know if this goes into autism as much, but yeah, that's... don't think of it as a strange thing if you see an autistic person. Go ahead and solve a... oh, this was supposed to be... okay. Solve a problem by starting off with, like, a direction you wouldn't expect. Holy shit, I just remember these puzzles finished with dark, hell yeah. I just remember something now, I forget what kind of puzzles they are, they're like trick question kind of things, like, how many months have 28 days in them? You immediately want to think February because that's the one that has 28 days. Flat, but the answer is 12 because all months have that stuff. I, for the life of me, could not understand that stuff because I want to go by pure logic. And my logic was not always fitting with everyone else's. Alright, so... yeah, 3. Man, that's... I mean, that's just a different thing to talk about still, though. It has nothing to do with the conversation. Man, what... some might learn some things very slowly. Oh yeah, I have a tendency to learn a lot of things faster, but I still have a lot of issues if it's... we're going into Century, and here's another thing I'm just remembering about, like, that was a struggle to learn and understand. Was music. I was in band and choir and stuff all throughout, well, band until I was done with middle school, and choir until I was done with high school. I had an innate understanding of music theory and the like that helped me out, but I didn't really care for music for most of my life. It's gonna sound a little corny, but the thing that got me to actually want to listen to music, and I feel like helped me understand a lot of other things, including the abstract, was when I finally heard, like, the Beatles. I became obsessed with the Beatles as soon as that happened, too. Like, would do like a lot of like if I had to do an essay on famous people, I'd pick them, have like do like hours of research into that, do a lot of stuff with Google, try to understand them, get all their albums, all, and yeah, that was yeah, like soon after too, I kind of like listening to other music as well, kind of like understood it better. I was like able to get into it more. And it was weird too because that all also helped me uh, with social stuff in a sense. Because for a while I was able to notice the like tempos and the patterns to people. It was that was a tough thing to explain. It's like I started to notice. This is something that's worn out from me. I can't pick up on this stuff anymore. Oh boy, it was one of those. I don't want to talk about that. It has nothing to add for the conversation. Boy. Yeah, like sensory stuff. How autistic people go through the different senses and handle that stuff. I already brought up sensory overload, where everything feels like it's going in overdrive all at once. But it's like a oh, shit, we're actually getting closer to being done. Huh. Okay, purple wool and concrete. But like some senses have always been higher tuned for me. Like when I was a kid, especially, my sense of smell was really good, and I had eyes that I remember like going to the oh, let's keep those. Going to see like an optometrist, and they said that I had better than 20/20 vision. Like I could see a lot of things very clearly for oh, well they called it like eagle-like vision, which was not the same as what Chalmy thought. Now Chalmy thought like I was literally having eagle eyes or something, even though it's just like the optometrist kind of like making a joke of how good my vision was at the time. It's yeah, like a lot of people, a lot of autistic people have like some senses that are like greater than others, which can cause issues, especially. Well, I can't stand bright lights. Still, I struggle with. I don't struggle necessarily, but nighttime driving can be weird because the lights shining against my eyes against the dark make it a little harder to make out all the shapes around, especially people who have the bright sun like assholes. And like a lot of autistic people just struggle with bright lights in general. uh Loud noises, never a good thing either. Hey, it's another thing that's honestly very common. But yeah, like never really got out of that stuff myself. When I was at one of my was at a wedding for a relative this year, at like over in Austin. After it was done, some of my relatives and I went to like Austin's Bar Street, so was it 13th Avenue or whatever, and kind of like went through a lot of those places. And this is also from another thing that was actually happening for me in RTX too. Being in those places with loud music blaring and just bright lights all over the place. I might have seemed like I was loosely paying attention. I was not. I couldn't understand anything going on, and I was trying my best not to have a panic attack. Because it's like, oh no, there's too much all at once. I don't know a lot of these people either, which doesn't help. Oh, I need to stick close to my the people I know for comfort. Where are the people I know? Oh no. Yeah, that was a weird thing. Oh, Oh man, I keep saying weird thing. I feel like I'm just trying to. That's me going back into like internet stuff. No, it's okay. No one understood. I was trying to keep people from worrying about me too, or thinking. Well, I was trying to keep people from thinking me as a freak. I'll be honest. Okay, 3 more rows of purple, and then we're all in magenta. Boy, what else is there to talk about, though? Oh, fuck. Okay, the next chapter to talk about is with stimming. This is actually a very common thing. It's like taking a pencil or a pen and just wanting to click back and forth. Like, a lot of people do that. Autistic people love to do that as well, but it's not always just a comfort, it's just sometimes a thing we do. Yeah, stimulating, it's giving yourself a stimulus. Something you can do or react to. The thing I like to do that you just saw is touch the tips of my fingers to the tips of my thumb. I like to do that over and over again, or have like the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and order them so that way each number is next to each other in a way that the ones that are within one of another are not next to each other, which there's not a lot of combinations for that, but I just like being able to go through that myself. It's, I mean, a lot, the people who, my parents, my family who know about this, took them and myself, honestly, a bit to realize this wasn't something I just did when I was anxious or nervous. Now, I do this when I'm anxious and nervous, but I also just kind of like do it randomly, because like, why not kind of deal. Yeah, uh, I mean, it's a much better thing than what I used to do, where when I was a little kid, my thing would be to bite onto the collar of my shirt and just kind of like suck on it or chew into it, which caused me to have frayed shirt collars all the time. Another thing I used to do was rub the sides of my nose like that, which got to a point that I was literally bleeding because I would do that so often. It's these are things that can kind of like get to the point of looking like going through OCD, but it's not the same thing. Also, by the way, people with OCD also valid. Don't think of them as weird because of the things they feel like they need to do. It's yeah, there's still there's nothing wrong with them at all, and I can just loosely understand that those needs to like those compulsions. But yeah, some other stuff kind of like brought up is humming, grunting, mumbling, and the like, just making noises. I I like to do that as well. Still, I'll be honest, I just do some the noisy stuff to myself. I found the finger touching thing to be a good compromise in company because I wasn't accidentally hurting myself and I wasn't bothering other people. Boy. Oh, yeah, they bring up how, like, the stimming can look like distracting and aggravating for non-autistic people. And if you ever see an autistic person kind of like stimming, like doing one of these things, let them do it. Just let them express themselves because they don't want to be a bother. They don't mean to be. They're just trying to do something to help their mind. Is all. Motor differences is another thing coming up in this chapter. Yeah. I think I hinted out about this earlier. Is autistic people having issues with their motor skills? It's a very common thing, and for my... But he's not lined up. But he's not lined up. I mean, I can get this fixed up regardless. Hold on. Wait, no. Why did I... I don't need to go all the way down. But, yeah, like, growing up, I'd always have, like, issues with handwriting especially. Yep, they're one off. Damn it. Where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? Like, when I was a kid, handwriting issues are very common in autistic people, by the way. When I was a little kid at first, my handwriting, I'd clench with a fist the pencil or pen I was holding and dig right in. And then eventually when I was around 3rd or 4th grade, after having to get like some tutoring on this, I would learn to go ahead and at that time now change it from a death grip to holding on like this. So it's still not the best way to hold a pencil. I still honestly do that quite a bit. But I'd still dig in hard and put too much pressure in, which hurt my fingers pretty frequently and maybe go through lead pretty fast. But yeah, like now I can go ahead and draw like that, like I was taught and stuff. But, not draw, right like that. But it's still chicken scratch. It still sucks. My motor skills with that stuff are still not great enough to handle it. So I would also frequently trip over myself because I could never really place where my feet were. It's a weird... Not weird. I was horrible at sports, not just because of the general, like, puberty aspect, making, like, the changes in your body and all that. You're trying to keep up with everything, you know? But also just, like, my brain and my body always moved at different speeds. Which goes into another thing for... Oh, okay, I see the issue now. Another thing about, like, growing up with autism... growing up autistic is... Oh, boy, where was I? Oh, boy, that was, like, differences between body and mind speed. Oh, yeah. I remember hearing about... reading up on this and hearing about this. It's been a few years, so I don't know if the studies on this have changed at all. So don't take this as 100% true and correct about everything. But like autistic, the study I read was saying that like autistic people and minds take up because of the extra stimulus and stuff are taking in more information at all times than than non-autistic people are. Well, because the brain is the same, it's getting this extra information, but it has to take longer to process it all, which can make autistic people seem like they're slow, but slow to react and stuff. But the truth is that they're just being overclocked with computer terms. They're being overclocked, but they don't have the RAM to actually handle that. They don't have the proper CPU to handle everything. Because it's still a human brain, still has its limits. Oop. Yep, like, I don't remember how true that is or not, though. So, yeah, that'd be something I'd have to look into again. Alright, yeah, we're gonna have to section this. Oh, no, I didn't mean to break that. Okay. Let's move on to another chapter. I'm just kind of like loosely going over this stuff. I encourage everyone to read the thing I put in. I'm gonna also attach this to the video when this gets uploaded to YouTube. Talking, I've briefly gone over this before, but yeah, communication can be uh, an issue. Like, I was not just nonverbal a lot, but like I said, I'd also just go ahead and talk at the wrong volumes or mumble a lot. This is another thing common for autistic people. Hmm. Okay, I see another issue here now too without needing to look at the dirt. Wait, am I just putting the wrong thing in again? Fuck, hold on. Okay, blue wool, blue wool, blue wool. But, yeah, like, I also just, growing up, and I know this isn't uncommon either for autistic children, uh, would have times where I'd want to say something but felt locked up and couldn't. There'd also just be a lot of times where I just simply didn't want to talk. I didn't understand why I would need to. Or like, it'd be someone I was unfamiliar with, so I just didn't want to say anything at all because they were scaring me just by being there. There's also been plenty of times where it was like, no, I do want to talk. I'm sorry, I'm just not sure how I'm supposed to. How does this conversation go? How am I supposed to be? Uh, but... Ooh, getting close, getting close. Alright, we can go ahead and get rid of some of the dirt now, too. Man, there's... Yeah, the stuff that is to talk about for... when it comes to talking with and autistic people can be better understood by reading, but yeah, there's a lot of autistic people who are just completely non-speaking and need something else to... Yeah, I definitely went over this at the start. Who definitely needs, like, something else to help them communicate. What's the question, Brian? Alright, magenta wool and concrete now. We end with wool? Oh, yeah, we do. Move on to the next chapter as well, communication differences. I already went over that, honestly, quite a bit. Like the issues with, understanding sarcasm, a lot of humor. Took a while. Okay, well, you're... Echo... Lalia? I'm not sure. Yeah, that's another common thing for autistic people. It's taking something you heard, especially from, like, a movie or video game, and just kind of, like, repeating that. For conversation. Like, trying to incorporate that into a conversation, but it doesn't really get understood that way. Because not everyone's gonna understand that you're... that when you're... Well, like the example given, hearing can't do something because the dishwasher's broken. Hear that and be like, oh, okay, to say that I can't do something or don't want to do something, just say the dishwasher's broken. Or another thing just being like, okay, I heard this line in a movie, so I'll just go ahead and say this line for word for word, line for line, to go ahead and explain myself for this other thing. Yeah, that's that's not true. That's not a rare thing at all for autistic people. It's just an attempt to have a conversation with people using what you've heard before as the example, and hoping that fits in, hoping that you're understood. Oh boy, when I was a kid, my parents had to pretty much learn another language or something. I do wonder how much it felt to them like they were having to decode some secret operatives working sort of like. Oh man, there's honestly not too much I can help explain there. Scripting. Oh, okay. Scripting, right? That's preparing a conversation by getting a script in your head. Now, the basic thing everyone would start with is be like the introductions, like, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm doing well," or just some kind of like small bit like that. Autistic people take like myself definitely go a bit more. I write the script of what I'm doing today in my head throughout the last few weeks, which is, I guess, more of trying to program schedule. I also just try to script out every conversation I am partaking in or about to be like, okay, these might be the topics that are brought up. I can say this stuff and see how they fit and see if anyone else that feels obliged to join me. And oh no, no, okay, everyone's moving faster than me actually. Oh god, I can't understand the conversations. I am lost. Oh, oh no. Yep, and that would be the end. That would be the. Oh, okay. Let's get this ending and make sure that's pointed off for the other side. Yeah, man. I guess I can go back into talking to talk about this point, but it is a genuine issue for me to try to really be part of a conversation of any kind because I can't keep up with everyone. Everyone moves too fast for me. And then you have like stuff where like more than one person's talking at the same time. My mind's makes everything. I can't actually understand what's being said, so I just yeah, this has definitely happened in RTX. I just sat around and kind of like smiled and be like, oh yeah, there's a conversation. More open about autism recently. Yeah, that's part of it, Brian. Like I grew up feeling like I needed to be ashamed of it. Not by the people immediately around me, but by everyone else. It's mm, it just ended up being like going from wanting to be proud of it, like my when I first was diagnosed with it, and like I said, being honestly a bit of a prick about things, to just realizing how much of a freak you're treated as when they find out, and when you see celebrities go on air and call you a diseased creature that doesn't need love and support but needs to be treated and cured. I can, because of that, I do feel more, well, not more sympathy, but listen, I'm a straight cis white guy. There are plenty of problems. I there are people who have a lot more problems than I have. I'm not gonna pretend to act like I am the worst off of anyone. I fuck. This is gonna be brought up later, but uh, people of color who are autistic, as well as autistic women and uh, people in LGBTQIA plus who are autistic have it much worse. It is they are generally treated worse. Another, I mean, one of the big things is that they're not always diagnosed as much because the test on finding out if a kid's autistic or not were done on white boys So that's all like has been used as the model, and as that's gotten better, people have kind of been able to understand autism to be existing in not just white boys, but a whole bunch of people. It's not exclusive to any one group of people at all. It is something that can be found in. Oh, it's something anyone and everyone can be born with. Again, there's no problem with that. But yeah, I've also kind of like just gotten more frustrated at like all the problems that people who think of autism as a problem had to say, all the bad takes, all the stuff from I just kept on seeing in media and the like. And I kind of like felt like I needed to try to do even a small part to help. Okay, it's a little funky, but hey, I got the autism acceptance symbol up there, the rainbow infinity loop. Never mind the failed piece behind it. Ignore that. It only took like a little, yeah, about 2 hours to complete. So yeah, I can kind of like focus more on other stuff now. Boy. Augmentative, and alternative communication. Oh yeah, this has been brought up for like the non-speaking people who need to use like something like a device or like some sound machine to go ahead and talk for them because they struggle. Some autistic people learning sign language. I actually want to learn that myself just to be better about communicating with people who use that as well. Socializing differences. I've brought up before, like, a common thing for autistic people being socialization is such a weird thing. It's the unspoken rules. It's the all the weird steps everyone feels like they need to put in. It just feels like too much. It's so weird. What are all these things people are doing? It's hard to get these connections going. It's not an issue of like not wanting to make these connections. It's an issue of how do you make them? Like I don't know how. I still don't really understand that. I don't know how I made friends with anyone. I don't know how I got to know anyone. It's weird. What happened? What happened? I don't understand at all. If I tried to go out and actively make friends, I wouldn't know what to do. I still don't know what, like, social situations, social settings. I am not good with those unless I'm near people that I understand, that I know. Like, by all means, next RTX I go to, I I will be very uncomfortable around everyone I don't know, unless I'm in an area where I can be just around a few people or by myself. I can pretend to be okay. A lot of autistic people pretend because that's the best that can be done. And now I do play D&D 3 times a week and host a live stream for a game too. Yeah, it's been a lot of time spent trying to understand things. Okay, empathy. The website. Make sure to shout out to Shadows Sharn. Empathy. Let's talk about like autistic people do feel empathy. In fact, they can feel greater than non-autistic people do. Uh, it's just not always expressed in a way that can be understood. Oh yeah, yeah. And this is something I remember hearing about too. Is well, this isn't exclusive to autism. This is apparently a common thing for neurodiverse people in uh general. Oh, mouse, you were in the wrong spot. Damn it! I'm gonna have to. Okay, then close out on accident. But like when trying to empathize with someone to try to show that you understand the pain and want to help them out, there's the drive to go ahead and share an anecdote, a personal story to do with the subject at hand, as a way of comforting. And I am definitely someone who's done that as well. And I've been belittled, made fun of, and told that I was being extremely selfish for doing so. So I've ended up avoiding doing that, and I tried to at least, and yeah, I definitely lost uh, someone I thought was a friend at the time with because of that. And if people say that they knew and were close to autistic people, and so they understood, and then kind of like realize as I've learned more about autism myself, how much of a fucking prick they were themselves by understanding now, being like, oh, they didn't actually bother fucking paying attention to one person. How can I believe that they actually paid attention to this person they claim to be close to as well? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, trying to give these anecdotes isn't trying to become the center, the focus of the story. It's an act of empathy, of sympathy. It's an attempt to try to make a connection. And again, that's not just something that's in autistic people. That's something people with other non-neurotypical stuff going on with them will do. Brought up the rules nobody says. Oh, thinking for ourselves. I brought this up too. Yeah, I don't feel peer pressure the same way. A lot of a lot of autistic people don't feel peer pressure the same way, and if they do, you won't notice it the same way. I feel like. Yeah, because like, well, a lot of non-autistic people will have like these rules they agree with. Those autistic people are gonna be like, "What are you talking about? This is fucking bullshit." So, anyways, I'll go ahead with this thing that you're not talking about. I mean, I still get peer pressured, but that's anxiety getting to me, not people actively doing something. Brought up the issues with eye contact. Brought up nonverbal communication. Oh boy, nonverbal communication, to go more in depth, that's is like when you try to incorporate like body movements or use your expressions to kind of like give another meaning to what you're saying. Autistic people struggle with that. I still struggle with that every now and then. I'm I understand that stuff. Personally, I understand that stuff better than I did as a kid, but it's not at an amazing level still. Uh, I mean, just trying to understand people's expressions at first, especially with issues with keeping uh, like eye contact if I do at all. I've had to like learn my workarounds for that, and I also prefer if people go ahead and just say how they're feeling or what they're thinking instead of try to get me to guess. I I'm not the only autistic person that feels that way either. Again, uh, autism spectrum. Some people are going to be better. Some people are going to be worse about this. There's no issues either way. Uh, oh, and on the other side of things, autistic people may look like they're angry or impatient or anxious, but they're really just going through one of their stems, is all. Uh, There's really not too much else I can think of. I guess some other random stuff about autism. Okay, first off, okay, brought it up before, high functioning and low functioning are not generally used terms anymore. It's support needs, like if you have a high amount of support needed or a low amount of support needed. Now. Uh, Reminder that, vaccines do not cause autism, despite what Jim Carrey and that quack of a doctor who lost his medical license, claim. Vaccines are perfectly safe, and they just help you with your health. Autism's not a disease. There is no cure. There will never be a cure. Don't fucking try to cure it. Just accept the people. Love the people. There's no normal person now waiting inside an autistic person waiting to break free. No, that's just ick. Yeah, and autistic people are autistic their whole lives. Just because the general portrayal of autism is that of a child doesn't mean that's how we're like our whole lives. Now. By some other stuff. Oh yeah, this is something I found out about recently. I don't know how many studies have gone into it and how many are valid, but this is something I noticed was like it's autistic people are more likely to be non-binary or and/or trans. I didn't see anything about like why that's the case. The only thing I can guess is because autistic people don't really live by the same social norms as everyone else. The idea of like these gender norms and stuff are just seen as weird and unneeded as much for a lot of autistic people. That's my best guess. Don't take that for fact. Don't take that for fact. I am not sure either. But yeah, like 2000 was like what was it? I actually need to look this fact up again. It's in the book I was looking at. Something about like how the changes in identifying autism have actually caused like people to be better at diagnosing it and like realize there's a greater number of people than normal. Oh, greater people than believed to. Where is this? Where is this? Something like 1 in 500 or whatever. Where is this in the book? So I'm kind of like looking through here. Oh, yeah, okay. One of these chapters, make sure to bring up that quack doctor who lied about uh, vaccines causing autism, Andrew Wakefield. What a piece of shit. Glad he lost his license. How dare you spread such harmful information. Okay, yeah, in 2000 it was believed that 1 in 150 people were autistic, but now it's believed to be more like 1 in 59. It's not that more people were being born autistic, it's just that people have gotten better at identifying it. They realize that it's not a male, oh, yeah, a male dominant thing like it used to be believed. It's actually pretty equal between men and women who has it, and also realizing that it's not a mostly white thing, since again, a lot of the early tests were done on white boys, so that's who people were looking at as the example. And it's actually pretty equal and steady. I believe it's actually pretty equal and steady across races as well. Um, Another thing, Asperger's syndrome is what I'm technically diagnosed with, but that's kind of gone away, partly because autism spectrum's kind of like folded in a lot of the different things of autism and stuff that's close to autism as well. And also because Hans Asperger, the guy that's named after, was a Nazi scientist who picked and chose autistic children based off of how he believed they would help out Nazi Germany and whether or not they deserved to live or die. So yeah, no, it's a evil thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just autism. Let's avoid using Osprey. Oh. Man. God damn it, I didn't know if I'd actually have even 2 hours of anything to talk about. Here I am, 2.5 hours later. Okay, I really don't have anything else to talk about. If there's any more questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm honestly really curious about anything that feels like it needs to be answered still. Like any strange question, no, not strange questions, anything that's feels like it needs to be. What's up, Brian? IO, by the way. OHIO. I'm gonna go ahead and just admire this again. Move on closer. Look at its grandeur. Look at how wonderful it is. Oh, but yeah, what's the O about, Brian? Unless you're still typing in. I do hope to be able to, like, continue, like, saying some different things, and it's been nice to be able to get this conversation going, like, try to help out. I'm glad to have been able to hit the $100 mark, which was what I was worried about if I could get to or not, because yeah, I mean, I was gonna make sure to donate myself. I'm still gonna donate some of my own money for this at the end of the month too. I noticed that people have been recently getting diagnosed with autism as adults, and it's yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't realize are make them autistic until later in life. Like I said, it's not something that's like just for children and it goes away. No, it's there your whole life. There's people I know who've been curious about like if they are autistic or not. I have my own issues with self-diagnosis, but mostly in that I don't think anyone should treat self-diagnosis as the end-all be-all. I believe you should always look for other opinions outside your own, mostly for this stuff, mostly like the trained professionals who can actually notice this stuff a lot better, because humans are always prone to bias no matter how hard we try not to be. So it's like looking at a zodiac or like a fortune or anything, people will go ahead and try to look at those vague things or these other stuff, and if they have an answer in their head already, they will always put the puzzle together to make it link back into that their answer is correct. But yeah, like, just the whole American healthcare system. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. It's yeah, it's worth getting to know and understand, at least take a look at. I've definitely told people uh, this before when they were thinking that they are autistic is go ahead and like if they're able to make sure to check with that a professional or two for the second opinion, and like just be sure about this stuff. In the meantime, like they can go ahead and use that self-diagnosis as like the first step for things to try to understand. Yeah, again, like nothing weird, nothing abnormal. Just like with anyone with a disability, autistic people need to be just treated with respect, and it's easier for things if instead of trying to get the square peg to fit in the circular hole, to go ahead and make the workaround that's like including, like instead of that bullshit of like building wheelchairs and climb stairs, just build a fucking ramp. The less expensive, the more inclusive, and the easier option. Just try that stuff. Okay, also, like, I am giving the fundraiser for Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, but there are a few others I remember seeing, I can't listen off the top of my head. I know there's other things I want to talk about that I have, that's about, like, growing up autistic and other stuff as well, but listen, again, I never want to have autism painted and a picture of being a thing for autistic people being victims because of autism. It's only the issues that come from the people who want autism to be seen as an issue, the people who actively treat it as one. And as isolating as it can feel for some people growing up with autism, my heart goes out to the autistic kids out there who are in situations that don't accommodate to them, that try to push them further into isolation instead of trying to support and help them. I mean, I brought it up like a lot of autistic people are more likely to be trans and or non-binary, and uh, think about like how uh, non-autistic people or trans and or non-binary can already feel pushed away and isolated by society, and that extra thing just yeah, and I really want those kids of all to all just get love and support. Uh, yeah, I'll go ahead and be the end of the stream then. Thanks for watching and listening to these ramblings. I'm sorry about the awkwardness, the horrible, non-linear execution of everything, because I can't plan things out properly at all or get everything to go in understandable order. I hope this was educational and understanding, but again, thank you for listening to me. Uh, Make sure to love and support all autistic people around you, all people of disabilities around you. In fact, be fucking loving and supportive of people in general. Just please, please. Have a good evening, have a good night, good morning, whatever time of day is about to come to you. Goodbye now.